get started here. So bear with me just 1 minute. So welcome everybody to this technology showcase with Sabio this afternoon. We have got Ryan Johnson and Gabe Mitri are here with us today, and they're going to talk about the mission control that they have designed for Genesys especially. Ryan's going to do most of the presentation and the heavy lifting. But Gabe's here in the background to answer all your questions. So please feel free to add any questions that you have or comments into the chat. And we'll interrupt Ryan as we go through, and hopefully try not to keep him too much off track, but we can also save some questions to the end if needed. Just to remind everybody, if you haven't already, download the best practice guide. You can use the code here, and feel free to share that with everybody. 5 great chapters, loads of different content for you, so that will be really useful. And another reminder that you can become accredited from your learning throughout the conference. So if you use the QR code, it'll take you to a survey form where you can fill out what you've learned today and what you're going to do differently. And from that learning, you can be accredited at foundation level from your learning. Brilliant. So I'm going to hand over to Ryan now. Ryan, I will stop sharing so that you can share if you want to go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Hopefully everybody can see my screen.
Yep.
Excellent. So good morning, everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself, tell you a bit about me, where I currently am, and then I'll move on to introduce mission control. So I'm Ryan Johnson. I'm a principal engineer at Sabio. I've been working with Genesys now for over 13 years. Quite a bit of that was to do with Genesys Engage, and then over the last 4 or 5 years has been Genesys Cloud. Probably heard me say good morning. I'm currently over at Denver, Colorado for the Genesys Experience Conference. So it's currently like 5:30 here. But it's not too bad. I flew in yesterday, so my jet lag is quite bad. A bit about Gabe as well. Gabe's here. He's a WFM specialist. He will help answer any nuances and unique things around that. And yeah, a bit about the agenda. So what I'm going to tell you through is introduction to mission control, a bit about its feature set, and then move on to the challenge. Where does it fit in? So why do we think we need such a tool like this? And then I have 2 use cases I'd like to walk you through. And during them use cases, we'll do some live demos. And then the last 2 bits, no stress changes. I want you guys to feel by the end of this that using a tool like this removes a lot of the anxiety or need to worry that by doing this, how does that impact other areas of the business? And then a quick summary, tell you the key points we covered off on this, and also takeaways if people want to reach out further or find out more. Also, I just want to add, it will be an interactive demo. What we're going to be doing in here is making changes to a contact center that I've created. If you want to take part of it, just to see that it's not a myth, we'll be adding customer experience into this. We'll be changing skills, etc. Also, if there's questions and other bits you want to change, we'll edit that. And if you want to call in, we're going to focus on something called channel divert. So moving interactions away from the contact center. Please feel free. You will receive an SMS, etc. during the demo. I believe we'll share this number with inside the chat, so you don't have to have a photographic memory and remember what it is. So mission control, what is it? It's the idea of this tool is to actually start putting the power into your hands. what we see is a lot of customers and businesses know their business far greater than SIs like myself. Yes, we're here to handle a lot of the low-level challenges, the integrations, etc. But you know your business, you know the bits you want to change, you know how you want to make that change. So Mission Control allows you to start taking control of that. Tool itself is designed for anyone, really. We want it to be aimed at business staff, so be that people sat in finance or your business BAs, your analysis, and then also your technical staff. So someone like me, I'm quite low level technical, and I use this tool on a daily basis to configure and change environments. So it's literally aimed at everyone. I've got a few of the key features at the bottom. We're going to touch on a few of them. If anyone wants to ask questions during out or find out more, please do say, and I'll cover them off. So the challenge, why do we need a tool like this? Genesys is a great product, especially Genesys Cloud. It's come on a long way from Engage. The feature set as well is very high, as well as its capability. But I would say that there is a few things where it starts to get challenging. And that's as your business grows, so does it grow with complexity. Now, a lot of that is people want to make changes. And this image here is Genesys Architect. This is your customer journey. You'll probably see that there's a lot of squares on the screen. And on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a description with loads of numbers. They're called tasks, and there's a lot more blocks in there. What we find is one of the biggest challenges is not actually knowing what you want to change, it's knowing where you want to make that change. And without having to go through block by block to work out, should I add a prompt here? Should I add a new IVR option? Or should I change a skill? With Mission Control, we remove all of that guesswork. And with a simple process, we allow you to see where that message should flow in. So I've got a use case here that I'd like to talk you through, and then I'll do a quick demo. So the need is to reprioritize agents. So we've looked at forecast over the last month, and what we've seen is on Mondays, we're getting a high amount of calls come in regarding the specialist queue. So for this certain Monday, we brought in additional staff to handle that volume. But however, today hasn't turned out to be quite such as that. So we've got our normal amount of people handling our general calls, but we can see there's a high amount of general calls today, and we've got a few specialists sat around not doing much. So using Mission Control, what we can do is we can easily adjust the skills on the fly. So instead of just people handling just specialists or just general, we can add the specialist skill to the general queue. And therefore, when a call comes in, we can use some of that specialist people. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to jump over to Mission Control. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of the tool itself, and then we'll jump into this, this use case. So this is Genesys Cloud. I'm hoping a lot of you, if not all of you, have seen this before. What we've done is we've actually embedded our tool directly into the UI. We want it to feel that it's part of the Genesys ecosystem rather than a third-party app. So along the top, you'll see under apps, there is one called Sabio Mission Control. When you open it up, hopefully you guys will start to see we've tried to follow a similar pattern. On the left-hand side, we've got our settings, and at the top, we also have divisions. So we can support multiple divisions in your business. Let's say you've got a team in Australia or a team in the UK, or if you're a UK team and your organization is split into finance and payments, etc., you can split that up. So there's two key sections in Mission Control. We've got our settings. This is where all our management happens, what permissions should be set, what divisions. Should I do user management, create users in bulk, doing a lot of macros, and also should I edit my profiles? I'll come on to what profiles are in a second. And then the second part is what I call business routing. This is where you can actually start to see your day-to-day routing of your contact center. For this demo as well, I'm focusing on voice primarily, and I'll touch on email a little bit. But the key design of how we built this is once you learn one media type, you should learn them all. So you can see on the left-hand side, voice is split into three key areas: ingress, inbound, and delivery. Ingress is all about getting the call into the system. So like that number I shared with you now, if you called in, it's going to use this experience. Inbound is all about segmentation. So this is our IVRs. Where should that call route? Should it go to a queue? Should it go to a second tier IVR? Or should I route it externally? You can start to build that. And delivery is all about getting the interaction to that agent. What skill should I target? What's my in-queue experience? Or what should happen if something like we just talked about a minute ago changes within inside of the day? So with that, what I'm going to do now is show you how you can view config as well as edit it. So each thing along the middle here, these are our modules. And as ideas grow and things get added, more modules will appear. Customer experience allows us to see what we're hearing within inside of that in-queue experience. So I'll go quickly and I don't derail. This is where you can say, you can play messages, you can have on hold music, you can play estimated wait times, and you can enable triggers like callback. But for the example we talked about, we want to focus on targeting. So we can see here that I have a profile up here called Voice ACD General, and this is the skills and stuff I'm targeting. If I click on this, I can see other profiles. So I have a pre-configured profile called Forum Targeting. When I click on this, you'll see that I have some skills that are taking effect. I'm going to target a general skill and a specialist skill. If you hit update, that now takes effect straight away into the system, even calls that are currently live in queue, and it will start to target them new skills. But let's say you want to edit them skills. If you go to settings now and go to voice management, under targeting, this is where our profile will appear, forum targeting, and now I'm in edit mode. So the last mode I showed you is where we apply profiles, and we'll come onto that when we talk about no stress changes, but this is where you can edit your profile. So what you'll notice, and I'll talk about this a lot because validation is a fundamental design of mission control. Anywhere where we can, there are APIs. So you'll see that there's a list of language skills that are presented here, and we are actually using the Genesys API to present them. So as you go and create a new skill in the system, that will automatically appear here. But you'll see I actually added the specialist one prepping for this demo. So I'm just going to delete that for you, and we'll go there. So I come here. I know this is my general skill, my general queue, and we're currently targeting the general inquiry skill. If I want to add a new skill, it's as simply as pressing plus. Again, I'm treated now with a drop down. Now you'll see this is quite a large list of skills. I don't want to have to search all of them. So if I start typing, as you start typing, it will pre-filter that list for you, making it far easier to find the skill you want. So I want the specialist skill. And when I hit add, it adds it straight away. Along at the bottom, when I hit update, you'll see that now says targeting settings updated. So anyone calling in now, going to the general skill, the general queue will now be targeted general inquiries and specialist. So we can easily and very dynamically add config in real time on the fly. What I'm going to do now as well is just jump back to use case 2. What this use case is about, this one is where you can call in if you want and hear different experiences. So the other one is divert customers is away from voice. I put email and website, but it's just away from voice. So we're using the performance dashboard provided by Genesys. We can see that right now we have 41 calls waiting and a current longest waiting time of 40 minutes. We don't actually have enough staff in our system to handle that right now. And we want to actually publicize a message on there and also offer the ability to send an SMS to divert people away. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump back to mission control. We're going to edit the customer experience. If people want to call in before, I'll give you a chance, and then we'll change it so you can hear the dynamic change. So back to mission control. If I go to voice inbound, and I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. So forum CXP. So again, I want to edit this one. If I go to voice management and inbound experience, and I'll choose that. I'll touch on why there's 3 there in a minute. So right now, our customer experience is hello and welcome to the forum. Again, if anyone wants to call in now, that is what you'll hear and experience. But we want to add that new message. So What I can easily do now is no need to go to architect, no need to know where I want to do that. I know I want to play a message. So in the top right, I have a new message button. I'm greeted with a few options here. This is a friendly name. So I could just say high call volumes. Cool. And then 2 drop downs. So we support different types of prompts. We support text-to-speech, which in this case is using Genesys enhanced text-to-speech. Please, again, call in if you want to experience it. It is far greater than the standard one. Actually, I have a certain customer that can't tell the difference between the robot text-to-speech and their actual prompts that they're paying for by a certain customer. If you choose user, you'll see that we get message destination. And again, just like I showed you on skills, where we can, we're using APIs. So this is presenting all the prompts back in the system that I have. You'll see that on the right-hand side, there's quite a lot. Same again, if I use my search feature, I'm just going to use closed because this is a good example. It will find all the prompts with closed, but it doesn't really matter where the word closed is. It can be at the beginning, the middle, or the end. It will filter for us. But to make this demo a bit more engaging, I'm going to use text-to-speech. So I could say, we are currently experiencing high call volumes. What you can see along the bottom, I also have 2 other features I can do. I can offer an SMS. So I could say, again, using text-to-speech, if you would like to move this to email or our website, press 1. On the right-hand side, we have SMS offer option. We know that not everyone might want to press 1. You could have star, hash, or whatever. So whatever you put in here, defaults into here. So I'll put 1. We also have the ability to send an acknowledgement. So thanks for, thanks. We will send an SMS. These are the 2 SMS numbers we have configured in Genesys. So I'll just use this one. And for now, this is the thing. So I could just have www.sabiogroup.com. When I hit save now and update, that takes effect in real time. So if anybody calls in now, you will actually hear that there is 2 prompts. We have hello, welcome to the forum. And then straight after that, we're currently expecting high call volumes. But the other real thing is that I'll give people a chance to call in if you wish. I'll just talk about this other feature. You can add as many messages as you want. You could play GDPR messages, call recording, etc. But also, if you wanted to change the order of that prompt, again, there's no need to go in Architect and move things around. You can just use the up and down arrow keys built into Mission Control to make that take effect in real time. So I'll just do that now. Again, if anyone's calling in. I've now moved, we are currently experiencing high call volumes first. So if you call in now, that is the experience you'll hear, and then you'll hear hello. So we've made it very dynamic and easy for people to change. And also if someone wants to delete that prompt, for example, we'll put that back to the top and hit delete. So you have full control of what you're doing. Now, I also mentioned the other way of doing it. So you might want to have a pre-set up experience, knowing that when it is high call volumes, you don't want the time to manually create what I did. What I had done is I had created one earlier. So a forum CXP divert. It's a very similar thing that is there with SMS. So back now to my business settings. If I wanted to just change that on the fly, I can choose the other experience that I've created, and I can just change that and hit apply straight away. So if you wanted to have a few pre-recorded messages set up, and then you just apply that on, you can. What I'll do is I'll just jump back. Like I mentioned, there are other triggers. So in our in-queue experience, we can enable other things like after a certain time, route to a BPO. We could offer voicemail. We can actually offer callbacks as well. So callbacks, we support 2 types of offers. We can do it at the beginning of a call based on estimated wait time, or you could say after someone's waited, say 5 minutes within the queue, or every 5 minutes, offer a callback. So one of the last things I wanted to touch on is changes made easy with no stress. You've heard me talk about this quite a bit now, and I'll go show you another example of that. But the way we've designed this is our configuration is created as something called a profile, and you assign profiles to journeys. Now, you can have a one-to-one mapping, and therefore what I mean by that is you could have the same profile assigned to one queue, or you can have it assigned as in one queue each, or one profile assigned to all queues. Now, the reason why we've taken this approach is I'll use the welcome message as an example, or the emergency message. Let's say you want to change that welcome message, and you're using Architect with multiple different flows. You would have to actually go make that change as many times as many flows as you have. Where with Mission Control, you can just update that profile, and that change will propagate onto anywhere where that profile is used. Same goes with opening hours. Now, I know scheduling is there, and I didn't touch on it, but anything that Genesys does very well, which scheduling is one of them, we use. But the bit where we've added our own flair to that is the actions on the outcome of that. So what should we do when we're closed? What should we do if it's a holiday? Should we play a certain prompt, etc.? So without the need to go into the Architect flows and make that change, we can do that in code. In data. The big reason for that also is around testing. When you make a change to Mission Control, it's isolated to that one area and not the whole flow. So because we have this all pre-tested, what you're testing is your business change, not the technical change. So there's no need to worry about knock-on effects to other areas of there. It's unique to there. So again, no need to compile your Architect flows, and no need to have a wide test range where you have to test anything that is connecting to. So our changes can be very, very isolated. Again, I'll just quickly show you what that looks like in Mission Control. So as I said here, if this is our IVR. If I came into menu actions, and let me go into settings actually as a bit more appealing. I can see that this is my IVR here. I have 4 different options today. And let's say I wanted to change that order. So right now, if you call in and you press option 2, it routes to a queue. But I want that to be number 1. By just hitting on the up arrow and hitting update, I've made a data change, nothing to do with Architect. So I know in confidence that that will take effect straight away, and I don't have to test either side. What I would test, though, due to Sabio best practice, is that my changes may take an effect. Now, I know some of you will say, well, that doesn't align with the prompt. We also have the ability to change the prompt directly here. So I could say, just swap that round. Press 1 to route to a queue, press 2 for customer experience. So there's a lot of different features that we have inside of Mission Control. It varies quite fast and wide. Just before I go to summary and take any questions, I just wanted to say the same with email. So same premises there. This is a good example. So I've come here, I have a division for this demo called customer event, and you'll see that there's no config related. But if I change to my Mission Control one, you'll see now config appears. So I can isolate who can see what and part of which team. Again, that's really down to you and divisions. This does have enhanced division support, where we know there's a few gaps right now in Genesys. So just like I touched, same premise, we can see modules. We support header routing. So what's the from address, what's the keyword routing, etc. And you can actually start to build up. So this is one of my colleagues, Gordon Bell. If he emailed in, I would automatically send that to a queue, and he would have a priority of 0. So I can actually start to build this up, and you could have someone else emailing in Ryan Johnson, who's going to a different queue with a different priority. So I just wanted to show you how else we support that. Just going to jump back to the presentation. I'll summarize, and then if there is any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, I'll hand back. So why have we done this? We've built a self-serve tool resulting in a large reduction of service requests. So again, stuff like your business might have to do today, changing prompts or changing opening hours, or even creating new users. this tool is to put, again, sorry to use this, the power into your hands. We want you to feel that you can make the change when you want. The next big thing, this is my technical side coming through now, validation first for everything. Anywhere that I can ensure you can't break the solution, I will. So we use APIs as much as possible, and you can't break it. If you mistype something, it won't let you save it because it falls out of it. If it's looking for an integer, as in a number, and you put text in there, it won't allow you to save it. And then I want to hit home on no stress changes. I know what it's like working in a contact center. I know what it's like when it's getting busy and you need to make that quick skill change, or we want to divert it away. Now you can do that easily. Like I said, you don't have to know where, you just need to know what you want to change. And then point 4, I put this in here because it's very important. As you guys all know, Genesys Cloud is moving very fast. And that's also why I'm here this week in Denver, is to make sure we're keeping up to date with that roadmap. So as you all know, Genesys do releases on a weekly basis, and so do we, when applicable. So we try to stay within a month of their key releases that we're going to add, but also the roadmap that we supply our customers. The 3 key areas feed into that: Genesys, customers, and Sabio innovation. So there was a small bit in there I didn't show you, but we've added a feedback section directly in Mission Control. So as you guys come up with ideas and want new features to be added, you can request that or have that be reviewed directly into Mission Control. That is the end of my presentation. Hopefully there is some questions, but if not, hopefully I can pass it back to Alison.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, if anybody's got any questions, if you want to put them into the chat there, we can go through with them. But Ryan, let me ask you a couple of questions. How much easier and quicker is it than just doing it in Genesys itself?
Sure. So I'll just go back to the challenge page for that one. I'm going to have to give quite a varied range here because I don't know everyone's skill set, but I've tested out with a few people. Take a simple prompt change that I demonstrated. It might have taken us 10, 15 seconds to do. Doing that in Architect could take anywhere between, let's say, 5 minutes for a very high technical person to anywhere up to 3 hours. And the reason I say 3 hours as well, it's including testing. You need to find out where that is, make the change, and validate it. So that would be the big takeaway from me. And I just want to hit home, it's not all about speed, it's about accuracy. And that's where Mission Control comes into its element.
So yeah, you were saying because it's isolated in that one area, it's not going to affect the flow further down. Yeah.
Correct. If you're changing something to do with customer experience, it's not going to touch anything to do with your IVR or your targeting. It isolates it to that one area.
Okay. And how easy is it to get Mission Control installed in my environment if I'm using Genesys?
Sure. So Mission Control does come pre-packaged with a few things. It can't just go and sit on top of anyone's. As people know, you have Architect. So when you get Mission Control, the UI, it comes with Architect flows, and it also comes with data tables where we store our information. So all the information you saw then is stored directly within inside of Genesys. We're not keeping any of that in a third-party database.
Okay, brilliant. Question from Hannah here. How much flexibility is there with the APIs? Can we adjust the APIs to our own needs, or is the package kind of one size fits all?
No, very good question. So I'm also the product owner of this. I probably should have added right at the beginning. So I built this thing and I look after the features. We're right now doing this as a product. So how the APIs are done and built is how we've done this. But I'm very open to change and ideas. So if there are things that people wanted to amend or create, I'm very open to listening to that. I just want to add one more thing to that though. Mission Control doesn't completely overwhelm and take over your whole system. if you were technical and like you mentioned, wanted to do your own APIs, you could have a flow that is customized, all your own APIs, and you can just get mission control to call it. You can't control what's in that flow via mission control, but you can point calls both ways. So you could get mission control to call your flow, or you could get your flow to call mission control. So it's very flexible in that way.
Okay, brilliant. Craig's asking, are the changes audited and can they be rolled back?
Good question. Yes, we have full audit history. We are storing it up to a month's worth of data with the ability for customers to export that data. Can it be rolled back? I'll explain why the answer is no, but I'm very open to hearing this. So when I built this with a load of colleagues back in Engage, we allowed people to roll back. But where that became a huge headache is how far should you allow that to happen? One change over here could affect one change over there. So someone rolled back a change that might have been 5 days ago, but there were 4 or 5 other changes since then. And rolling back that one change caused a bigger impact than having someone to look at it manually. So we've actually, for now, removed the ability to roll back. But in the audit history log, it tells you who changed it, what the new value is, what the old value is, and when it was done. So it gives you all the information you need to be able to make a decision.
Perfect, perfect. And Phil's asking a wish list, I think, from Phil. Is this just Genesys? Have you plans for any other platforms? Have you got plans for world domination, Ryan?
I do. Sabio actually held me back a little bit and said, let's run before we can let's walk before we can run and skip and stuff. So I need to prove its outcome with Genesys. But our methodology and ways of working, this could go fit on. So far, I know Avaya, and I'm looking at NICE, etc. So it will be able to go on top of others.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ryan, for your time. That was really interesting. If anybody thinks of any questions afterwards, please feel free to forward them to me. If you didn't catch Ryan's email address there, and I can forward them on to Ryan at later stages. But yeah, Ryan, thank you very much for your time. That was really useful.
No problem.
Look forward
And
to
we'll
speaking
stay
to you.
live as well if people want to call in later today. And again, just have a play. It will remain live.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Hope to see you at future sessions this week. Brilliant.
Thanks. Bye.